Imagine stumbling across a massive, rusted machine abandoned in the wild and finding out it's full of gold worth millions. This isn't a movie plot. This is real life. Tony Beets took the ultimate gamble on a forgotten piece of equipment buried deep in the Yukon wilderness. But could this 35-ton rust bucket really save his struggling mining operation, or would it be the final nail in the coffin? You're about to find out. And trust me, this story is pure gold. Quick question: would you gamble everything on an old machine? Let me know in the comments. Tony Beets, the king of the Klondike, was once sitting on top of the gold mining world. His pride and joy? The Viking dredge, a monster of a machine that churned out gold like a candy factory. But then, disaster struck. Boom, the Viking burst into flames, leaving Tony staring at nearly $1 million loss. And if that wasn't enough, another dredge sank, not once, but twice. Cue dramatic music. At this point, you'd think the universe had it out for Tony. With winter closing in and his entire operation hanging by a thread, Tony needed a miracle, and fast. And then he heard about it. An abandoned Trommel, sitting in the Yukon wilderness for over 30 years. But this wasn't just any piece of scrap metal. This rusted beast had a history of striking gold. Quick question to viewers: what would you do if you found $1 million relic? Keep it, sell it, or fire it up and see if it still works? Now here's where it gets interesting. Tony didn't just roll the dice, he bet his entire operation. He shelled out $400,000, yes, 400 grand, on a Trommel that hadn't run in decades. To make matters worse, it was buried over 100 miles deep in Moose Creek, accessible only by treacherous mountain roads. Enter Tony's son, Mike, leading the rescue mission. It was like a real-life Indiana Jones adventure, except with trucks, mud, and a 20-ton drum that looked like it could crush anyone who got in its way. First problem? Getting the Trommel onto a ferry. Pop quiz time. How long do you think the truck was? 50 feet? 60 feet? Nope, try over 80 feet. The ferry was almost too small, and if they couldn't get across, they'd have to drive 200 miles around, and no one had time for that. Piece by piece, they broke it down. Conveyor, removed. Sluice box, taken apart. The heavy drum, hauled onto a military-grade transporter. But just when they thought it couldn't get any harder, the Trommel nearly tipped over. One wrong move, and the entire operation would have ended right there. Finally, after days of white-knuckle hauling, the Trommel made it back to camp. But here's the real question. Could they actually get this rusted monster running? Tony brought in his best mechanics. They worked day and night, replacing rusted gears, fixing broken belts, and even upgrading parts to make the Trommel more efficient. It was a full-on resurrection project. Cue the moment of truth. The crew gathered around, the engine fired up, the drum turned slowly, and then faster. Dirt started pouring in, and the Trommel began to shake. Everyone held their breath, and then it happened. Gold! A glimmer of gold appeared in the sluice box. Cheers erupted across the camp. The rust bucket wasn't just running, it was working like a dream. Quick fun fact, did you know Trommels can process hundreds of tons of material in a single day? That's like digging through Mount Everest, but faster. With the Trommel operational, Tony wasted no time. He moved it to a remote, gold-rich claim his dredges could never reach. That's the magic of a mobile Trommel. It can go places other machines can't. The crew began hauling dirt at record speeds, and gold started piling up. But here's the kicker. It wasn't all smooth sailing. Halfway through the season, disaster struck. The Trommel's drum started grinding, loudly. A key bearing had failed, causing everything to misalign. With winter looming and every hour counting, Tony made a bold call: fly in replacement parts by helicopter. Quick poll: would you spend thousands on a helicopter delivery, or would you risk waiting? The parts arrived, the crew worked tirelessly, and the Trommel roared back to life. It was a massive gamble, but one that paid off big time. At the end of the season, Tony looked back at what they had accomplished. That abandoned Trommel, once rusting in the wilderness, had turned his operation around. It wasn't just about the gold, it was about survival, resilience, and taking risks when no one else would. So what's the takeaway here? Sometimes the biggest treasures are buried in the most unexpected places. You just have to be bold enough to go find them. Quick shout out, have you ever taken a huge risk that paid off? Tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. If you love this wild Yukon adventure, hit that like button and smash that subscribe for more insane mining stories. And don't forget to comment below. What would you do if you found an abandoned gold machine? Keep it, sell it, or fire it up like Tony? Oh, and one more thing. If you don't like this video, well, I'm just gonna assume you're secretly a robot. Wink. See you in the next one, treasure hunters.